talk for a moment about fake straps. Now, this piece, honestly, when I first saw it in the plan, what really struck me about it was these little walnut straps. It really makes the piece pop and look very cool. So they may be fake, but it's actually a really cool design element and visually looks interesting. So these are basically slightly under 1/4 of an inch in thickness and roughly about 4 inches long and 2 inches wide. And we're going to have 3 in every panel. Now, if you followed the plan and you made your panels out of plywood, you're actually going to have an easier time with this because you could just put glue on the whole surface, pop it in there and glue it down because the plywood's not going to move in between these rails. I use solid wood, so I have to be a little bit more cautious with that. And even though the solid wood that I used is quarter sawn and its movement is pretty limited, it's still going to move a little bit. So we want to make sure that it has the chance to do that, especially since I gave an allowance in my gaps that I provided for the grooves that I made. You know, if I glue this guy down and wedge it in between these 2 rails, I completely negate everything that I did before. So my plan is to just glue in the middle with a little bit of epoxy because I'm not going to be able to get a clamp on this guy. So I just want to basically have a glue that doesn't require quite as much in the way of clamping pressure to get a good bond. And I'm only going to glue it in the center. And then that means if this panel needs to expand and contract, it can still do so, but it's only locked down in the middle. And based on, you know, the structure of this piece and how tight this fit is going to be, I really don't have any fear of this, you know, warping or anything just because it's glued in the middle. It should be fine. Okay, so there's going to be 3 per section, and the easy way to do this is to make a few little guides that are cut to the exact distance that you need for spacing these things out. So I've got one that's cut for the middle, and the plans show you what measurements you can do for these. Well, you have to look at the numbers in the plans and then figure out minus your rail how long this should be. So this guy is what I use to space out the center one. Okay, and if I put it over here, you'll notice it's going to be the same distance. Now this one I use for the outside pieces. Okay, one there and one there. Okay, and I believe this is cut to 6 1/8. Yep. And this guy I think is 15. Okay, and that makes the whole installation a whole lot easier and very consistent over the whole thing. If you had to measure and mark for each and every one, you're going to be here all day. So that's really the quickest way to go about it. So I got to cut some more of these, but as soon as I get them all done, I'll be back here gluing them onto the piece. Now it's been a couple weeks since that last scene was shot because I've been waiting for the hardware to come in. Now I ordered one kit from Rockler, which is a pretty standard, more or less traditional hardware set with antique brass. It's really nice, but I'm not sure it's the way that I want to go for my particular chest. So what I'm going to use is Tansu hardware, and if you're not familiar with that, it's a Asian style hardware that is meant for similar things like this, where you have a large case and you need to protect corners, and basically the idea is that the hardware becomes part of the art form itself. So I just ordered some basic hardware from Lee Valley and I'm going to experiment with that. So I may not actually do everything the same way you would if you're going to follow the plans, but you'll still get the idea, and it'll also sort of broaden your options if you want to consider another style of hardware that really will change the entire look of the piece. But for now, we got to get this guy outside, get that water-based finish on the outside of the case as well as the lid, and then we can come back in and install the hardware.
I'm using a water-based, pre-catalyzed urethane from General Finishes. It's a semi-gloss, which means it contains flatteners, so I give it a good mix, and I also like to filter all of my finishes prior to spraying. A viscosity cup works great for scooping the finish into the filter. And now it's time to spray. I start by making vertical passes. Each pass overlaps the previous by about half. Then I change the setting on the gun and spray horizontally. Again, I overlap each pass. Spraying on a vertical surface like this does take a little practice since the finish can run easily. The key is to keep the gun moving at all times and don't let go of the trigger until the spray itself has moved off of the piece.
So after about 4 coats, I've got the surface looking exactly the way that I want. It's a semi-gloss sheen. Normally I don't like to go too shiny with open-pored woods like walnut and oak, but this semi-gloss looks pretty good. It's just enough sheen. And I may give it a little bit of a rub down later and knock a little bit more of that sheen off. But for now, we need to look at the hardware. Now, Rockler sells a kit. It's actually a $70 or $80 hardware kit that goes along with this plan. And the plan very specifically talks about those particular pieces of hardware. And there's nothing wrong with going that route. But again, it's never a bad thing to think about how you might want to customize a piece to make it suit your needs or suit the furniture style of your home. Now, the kit that they sell is very nice. It comes with latches. It's got a lock in the front. It's got these corner protectors. Very nice looking design. Antique brass. Problem with it though is I don't really like it. It's just not, to my personal taste. So what I decided to do after a suggestion from Tree Frog, a friend from the forum in the chat room, is to go with Japanese Tansu hardware. Now Tansu is the Japanese word for chest, thank you Wikipedia, and it basically in the West is meant to sort of to cover a whole broad range of cabinets and chests and trunks and things like that that have this very distinct hardware on it. And usually it's a black or a dark brown type hardware, metal hardware that goes in multiple locations on the piece to not just protect it and protect the corners, but to really be part of the art form itself. And do a little searching on Tansu and you will see some amazing pieces with, it's sort of a marriage of blacksmithing and woodworking together in those pieces. Very cool stuff. So I just ordered a few basic things from Lee Valley. These are not really that great. I think they're okay, but I've seen some really cool, elegant stuff. But this will certainly get me by. So they have the little corner protectors like that. And of course, you've got these guys, the straps that go on the side here. And really the idea was that they would perform a function of protecting this piece if it were to go on a trip. So I think that's what we're going to install now. I've got some very basic hinges. That's another thing I should mention here. The hinges I'm using are actually not that different than the hinges that come with Rockler's kit, which is somewhere in this bag. Both are just applied hinges. There's no mortises to route or anything or to chisel out. You basically just apply them to the back, put the screws in, and you're done. The only thing that I will say with this Tansu hardware is I don't have everything I need. I don't have a latch for the front. I don't have either a like emergency sort of slow stop for the lid, because this way the lid is just going to fall down. You need to have certain hardware in there to make this trunk as safe as it can be. So the Rockler kit actually comes with these little brackets that help the lid slowly close so that it doesn't drop. You have to think in terms of child safety there. So I don't have anything like that that's going to go with the hardware I'm using. I also don't have children, so I'm kind of okay with this for now. But I will be on the lookout for those things in the future. And the piece will not be completely finished when we're done here, but I will be on the lookout for something to operate as a latch in the front and then also the slow close of the lid. But we have enough to move on and get this piece looking the way we want it to look, so let's start installing some of that hardware. So here's the steamer trunk with the Tansu hardware installed. Now one little warning I'll give you, if you are going to use this type of hardware in the future, the hardware makes such a bold statement that you want to make sure you have an idea of what hardware you're going to use as you're designing the piece. Trying to retrofit this hardware onto a project that was not really intended to have that hardware on there proved to be a little bit difficult, and I made some sacrifices, and it doesn't quite look as cool as I wanted it to. Based on my time limitations and the hardware I had available. So that's just something to keep in mind. Design the project with the hardware in mind, not as sort of an afterthought. So everything works really well. Okay, the top still needs that little protective thing, and if you have children, that's an absolute must. You want to make sure that this can't accidentally close down on them. I haven't had a chance to work on the inner tray yet. I'll get to that sometime, but the basic trunk itself is done, and it's looking pretty darn cool. I'm very happy with the way that it came out. I just wanted to say good luck to Duane and Duane's family as well. You guys seem like a great bunch of people. It's been awesome getting to know you, and I hope your trunks come out great, and I'm sure your family is going to absolutely love them and cherish them forever, which is all we can really ask of our furniture. So good luck, and good luck to anybody who decides to embark on the journey of making a steamer trunk. Thanks for watching.